Hello, 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 hello.
Happy Monday.
Monday indeed. Hello, Celine, Patricia,
Grateful to be here.
Nikki. Grateful
Very grateful.
to be here.
Darn bippy.
Yes, we are. I look like a giant compared to you. I take up so much more of the screen. Our chairs are like the same size, too. Hey, Donna. How are you? Carrie,
I am a smaller person.
Teresa,
Jen?
Tammy, Jen B. How's everyone doing? Rachel, how's it going?
That was a very nice compliment you gave me, Teresa, so thank you.
Yes, thank you for that, Teresa. Whatever it was. Chris, how are you? So here we are, back from the weekend, and Sterling Hill Mine with John Z. He'll be joining us to, not today, but either probably this week or next week to talk about his experience at the Sterling Hill Mine. And we'll get into a bunch of other fun stuff with John. Hey, welcome, Joan. Don't keep your expectations low, and you will be more than satisfied, Joan. We will surprise you. You have my word. Just make sure they're low, and then we'll get right above low. But yeah, John will be on with us probably this week or next week. Donna Marion will be on Thursday. Creeper Gallery, Donna Marion. So she'll be joining us. We'll discuss the new Creeper, all the fun objects that are in there. We'll discuss when John Zaffis came to town and what new stuff she's going to bring in, and talk all about our fun history together because we're besties, and she loves me like a long lost brother. Right, Donna? Right? I mean, the woman built a monument to me. I mean, not many people have done that in my life.
She did.
So, how do you do it? How do you do it, Donna? One of these things.
I'm waiting for mine.
You're not kidding. Well, you're going to start begging for that now? Please. It's pathetic. Like I said, I'm setting some stuff up as far as interviews for this week, next week. So I want to get more people on. Hello, Mary Ann. How are you? So we have a lot of people here, some people here that were here Saturday night.
Hey, David.
And I went into it a little bit on a live stream when we were driving home. I tried to go live as much as I could to show you guys that couldn't be there, just a little bit. I mean, there were a lot of people there for John's event. And again, he brought some objects with him, but he wasn't supposed to, but he did anyway. But did my best to investigate some of them. I'll get to that too. Yes, Marianne, it was a great night. Here's my thing too. Then I'm going to start with this. Everyone out there knows how I feel about John Zaffis. when I see people appreciating him the way that I do, I feel good in the sense that I'm able to, again, have him at our events and other people are able to meet
Connect
him
them.
and hear him speak and just ask him questions because, again, you know, Ghost Adventures, yes, is my favorite show. And yes, I would like to meet Zach Baggins. I've met a lot of the others from our convention. But John, as far as credibility and being in the field forever, John is top of the food chain in my book. And he's funny because there was at a point Saturday night when he was doing his lecture, and I was doing my little bit of lecture, and I was reiterating how I don't ever protect myself whenever I go anywhere and do anything, objects, building, people's homes. I want to be an open channel. And he was like, no wonder you made friends with me and call me and text me all the time. I'm like,
You
hey,
need me.
what better, honestly, what better resource would there be than that guy?
I agree. He's the he's the guy you go to for anything, whether it be an item that you're having issues with or a place or yourself.
I mean,
he is the full rounded deal.
Master Yoda. That's why I said Master. The guy is Master Yoda, and I could sit and listen to him all day.
Hey, Kay and John.
When
Dana.
when people are doing the Q&A with him, and he asks me a question, he brings up the subject. I'm listening just like everyone else, and I'm hearing the new stuff.
No,
you know,
he's
great speaker.
He's beyond a great speaker, and again, he's done a handful of events with us already this year, and every single time that he has come to any of the events, we've learned something new, and just completely unexpected.
And then we're fortunate because we get to hang out with him before. We went to breakfast with him the next morning. We'll get into that in a minute. That's further down the road. Yes, we went to a place called Granny's.
It was good. Really good.
Yes, I said Granny's.
Yep. Don't hate the name because the food was awesome, and I am a granny. And John liked it too.
Yes, we went to Granny's. We're going to get into that in a little while because that was a funny experience as well. So, John had never been to the mine, ever. What was really cool was they rolled out the red carpet for him because the tour guides that were there that we've known forever and a day, Ken and Tyler, good guys, hard workers, dedicated, knowledgeable. They couldn't wait to meet him. They were like, we know him from this. Tyler saw him speak at a college. So it was cool for us to be the ones, to bring him there and they were excited.
It kind of felt like with all the hard work that because these guys volunteer their time and they come and they help and those guys break their backs to help us. I mean, they help us. It's such a big place and they're invaluable. You can't put a price on what they do for us. And for them to be able to meet someone that they hold in high esteem and we were able to make that happen for them.
Yeah, I mean,
that was rewarding.
If you're there, they're the guys that are leading people around. They actually work there and volunteer there. So again, and they love the paranormal too, which is why they're there helping us. So we had stuff to do. We got there early. So Ken's like, do you mind if I give John the dime tour? And I'm like weed? No. I'm kidding. Dime bag.
Hey, Jason.
It's an old thing. But anyway, I said, yeah, it'd be great if you could, because this way they have more knowledge of that place than I ever will. So they were taking John around, and again, when I finally caught up to him, he was just like, I have never been in a mine before. Really? He's like, this is really, really cool.
Oh, he'd never been in one.
No, and he was, he got to go into the museum area where all the magic rocks were, where all the minerals. The minerals. And he was talking about how much energy there must be just from that alone. You have spirit energy, and again, whether you believe in magic rocks or not, but the minerals do hold energy. True. Water is a conductor of energy as well, and there's a river in there from all the compartments that flooded below it.
The natural spring, right?
So you have all those elements plus 300 people died. I mean, you got everything you need for a quote unquote haunting or paranormal activity. So he was feeling it from the minute he walked in. What I like about John, John's just like, he schools you, man. He just, as you're going, he tells you his impressions. He tells you what he thinks it is. He tells you, and it's just, again, for me, I, I soak it up. I'm experiencing it just like the people that are paid to be there. So, um, and then he had his objects. So I'm like, John, this wasn't an event with your objects. And he's like, are you sure? You told me. I'm like, he wasn't mad. I'm like, John, no, we'll use them, but we're not going to investigate them like we did at Camp Evans. We're not set up for that for this event. So we tried in the beginning. He had a doll that belonged to an elderly woman, the aunt, who had a collection of dolls. He had a jacket that was a military jacket.
Someone who just recently passed away, right?
Yeah, he doesn't go much into the backstory. He had like a ritual mask that supposedly was used for good things, you know. And I can't remember what the creepy clown, which I didn't get to because people kept saying, "Do this one, do that one." I wanted to do the clown, and couldn't do it. Damn you, people, and your democracy voting.
It's not about you, John.
Yeah, exactly. This is John Tatership. But so we tried with the doll. We did get an EVP, but the recorder malfunctioned a little bit on me. The jacket, we didn't get a whole lot off of that. But again, we had to be quick with it because there was so much going on that night. If you've been to the mine, we use the entire mine, what's available to us, which is 1.25 miles, all the way from start to finish. Then we use 3 buildings.
Yes.
3 buildings. That's a lot. And in 4 hours, you've got to get people moving and you got to get them through. And we try to give everybody a taste of each building, doing different things, and my building, I'm in the office. Chris is in the mine. Tanya's in the mine. Kenny is in
Zobel.
Was he there again?
Yeah.
And Danielle was in the Geo.
Yes.
So we were stretched out. And again, the weather was perfect that night. And
matter of fact, the mine was the driest it has ever been, and the dripping was so minimal.
We literally should have stayed behind and done a nighttime investigation.
I'm telling you,
we're never going to get those conditions again.
No, the EVPs were like amazing.
No dripping, no water anywhere. It was just clear and calm.
Wait till you hear what people heard in the mine. Let me get to that.
See the fast forward button.
I said when we get to that.
That again was a fast forward button. Hey, Jonathan, how are you? So, so John does his lecture. John does his meet and greet. Lots of good questions. There were 2 guys. I'm horrible with names. Hold on, I'm going to get it. Jay and Derek. Am I right?
I believe so.
Jay and Derek, big fans of John Zappis. Again, it's cool seeing people meet him because I told you I drove all the way to Gettysburg. He was
3.5 hours.
He was basically doing a book signing outside of the Farnsworth house. And I drove all the way up there just to see him and meet him and take a picture with him and get a book. I did it. So I'm just like everyone else that was there. So it was cool to see people again get to talk to him and listen and hear, his lecture and answer the questions. John's very honest about cases and things that he deals with. So he's the guy you ask him a question, he's gonna give you a straight answer, and it's based on all that experience, And somebody was asking me, just to clarify, John is the blood relative of Ed Warren. He's Lorraine's through marriage. So Ed and Lorraine are married, but John's father's brother is Ed. Yeah. So if that makes sense. But I mean, he's still the nephew of both of them. But yeah, we had some good experiences, some good activity. I had every single piece of my equipment drained, which never happens.
Tanya had that problem.
We are sticklers for changing batteries. I literally changed them today, or was it yesterday? Yesterday, when we brought everything in, I pulled all this because I didn't want to have to do it again. We have another event this weekend. So I replaced all the dead batteries. I put new batteries in there. Everything, every single piece of equipment that I had was draining. Never happened before.
No.
So feeding the energy. And I'm going to let you go because I know you probably have more stuff happen than I'm happened. But when you can impress the people that work there, that are there every day, and give them an experience
They live there practically.
Where they go, holy S, you know you've had an experience that you'll remember. You filed this one away under I'll always remember this happened. Now, long story short, there's a guy, Tom, who worked there for many, many, many years. Tom passed away. Tom was a guy who, even after he worked there, would come back and visit, and everybody loved Tom. They would all speak fondly of him, and they believe that his energy is still around, especially in the office, because he would always hang out in there. So normally when I do an event in the office, the downstairs is the shadow figure, the guy that scares people. Upstairs, I talk to Tom. This time I really wasn't focusing on Tom because I had the haunted objects. Mm-hmm. So I was focusing on the object at the end of the table. During this one particular group, we're doing an EVP session. Before I turned the recorder on. I said, if you want to ask a question, ask anybody. You could talk to the doll. You could talk to the guy downstairs, or even Tom. I haven't had much interaction with Tom, but if you want to mention Tom or any random minor, just go ahead and do it. I hit the record button. I start. Before the first question is even asked, on the app, it says Tom. Now, I stopped and I went, did that just say Tom? And I didn't even acknowledge it. Everybody looked at me and we all nodded at each other. I didn't even acknowledge it yet. And we just kept asking the questions on the EVP session. We're listening back to the EVP session. We hear the playback of the app saying Tom, but 2 questions later, that sounds like a little boy says, like, question mark, Tom? And Ken, who's worked there forever, his mouth dropped. My mouth dropped. And I said to everyone, I said, you could go so many places and have different experiences. You want to talk about intelligent, validating, documenting evidence of an intelligent spirit. They can manipulate electronics. I've seen it. Is it always perfect and you always get something that's relevant? No, everything could, be misfire or just say a random word. But for you to get Tom through an app, when I just mentioned the guy's name and then an EVP, no way is that a coincidence. That's the stuff that keeps me going in this field and gets me excited week after week. And I believe that people commented that they were like, your reaction to things is probably the best thing that's happened tonight, because I was like, you have no idea. I wish somebody was filming this right now because it was just uncanny. And I mean, other thing happened where people were seeing things and we were hearing knocks and all that. And again, the hatch in the basement was
creepy. Tell me about the hatch.
The hatch, John has to go where no man has gone before. He's like Captain Kirk. So in the basement of the office, there is in a closet that has a hatch. You have to pull it up by the little metal ring, and there's stairs that go down into this dugout basement. It's in the office, downstairs.
Where?
In the scary room where the guy scares the people out of it. Oh. If you go downstairs, go to the left, that bedroom.
I don't go in there.
And that's the room where he scares people out of there that tried to sleep there. So I go in there, and of course we're talking about that. And John Zaffis was like, he's like, forget the miners. He's like, I think bodies were dropped off here from like the mob and stuff. He's like, I really do think people would unload bodies like they do in the Meadowlands and all that other stuff. He's like, because it was a quarry. Location. He's like, there were open pits. He's like, I think that this spot here. And I was like, really? So I stomped on the thing before I opened it. I said, is anybody down there? And people claimed to have heard a growl from the hallway. And they were like, did you hear that? So I tried to put a recorder down there and do an EVP session, but somebody who shall be nameless was talking through the whole thing, and I couldn't really get that done.
Couldn't do that practice.
But definitely when we do it, the next event, we're going to fish.
Donna said she heard a scream.
A recorder down there. Yeah. And really, really cool. So that was really the gist of and I know Tanya supposedly got some great EVPs from what I hear in her area.
John Zaffis said they were really good. Someone asked the question in her group with John Zaffis, and it was funny because, I call them salty, and because they were men's men that work in there, and somebody asked the question of, do you hunt? And as clear as day, they said on the EVP, it said, your mother. And they were all like, and they said it was very clear. So, and John Zaffis, when he came into my group, stated that they've got some really good EVPs on that side of the mine with Tanya.
Oh, good.
So he really enjoyed it. In our area, he came in and he sat down and he seemed to like meditate for a minute, like taking everything in. And then he turned around and he goes, there's lots of confusion and there's children. And makes sense. We don't address it when we're in there, but children did work in the mines.
I mean, child labor existed in the 1700s,
1600s,
1800s.
We're going back. Yeah. That mine was open in the 1600s. I mean,
but even in the 1800s, it existed. That art factory.
They had where the children would bring out the mules that were pulling all the rocks and stuff out of there before things were automated with the carts and stuff with the rails. So there was a lot of different things that were going, but that's what he picked up on. And he said, there's confusion and there's children. And I think the one thing that was funny is that I said to him, he moved to 3 different spots because I have a really big area in the mine. And he went over in by the spring, the natural spring that's down there. And he said he felt spirits around him. And so we put things around him and my God, they all went off. And then we were doing EVPs and moved again. And he wanted to do an EVP in another area. And we got that. And anyone that remembers this that was in the group, if you're on, we got the sound of a man having labored breathing.
Yeah, he said moaning too, right?
In the groups after, I had people pull out their phones and record and separated them, moaning, whistling, and someone actually heard where there was digging and footsteps going through where there was nobody, like boots walking, and digging. And I listened to it, and it was there. So.
But you said something that the candle too came flying out of the wall too, right?
Oh, well, that was with me. And I usually don't because it scared the Padibis and everybody stayed in there. But it was my last group and I was walking way down where somebody else was. And anyone that's in the mine knows I put these like candles. They look like little dynamites and I put them in the holes that they drilled out. And they sit way back there. So you just see the tip of the flame on the candle. It came shooting right out in front of me and hit and freaked me out. Completely.
We've had cat balls fly off of things in there and kind of I had one time, I don't know if anybody remembers this, people that were at past events, outside the door where that hatch is and where people get scared out of. Only time ever in my life have I ever seen a cat ball go back, forth, back. It was like everybody with their mouth open because it rolled forward, it rolled back, it rolled forward. And we were like, are you kidding me with this? Great. Again, the energy in and around that area is just, and to be able, again, I mean, honestly.
Well, somebody left after a session. They were in Kenny's group in the Zobel where the lockers, it's the locker areas where the miners would go change and like get ready for their day or their lunch boxes are still hanging up on the ceiling and stuff. And there are a miner's ashes in one of the lockers.
I'm just wondering because, there's no rain. I don't know in the forecast. I'm wondering, like, if we take advantage of that now, and like head up there, like tomorrow night or something, and get in that mine and just do crazy EVP sessions without water. I mean, that would be nuts. Don't bring equipment, just record.
Just do a recorder.
Just recorder. Bring the parabolic mics. Bring the.
Somebody heard voices with that. Yeah, they heard talking back and forth, but a woman. She had
just
her
do
hair
EVPs end to end to end. No other equipment. Just voices.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. This way we don't have to change all the batteries and everything. I could try that recorder Kalani gave me too.
I'm with you on that. But I wanted to finish saying that one of the women left after one of the sessions because in that room
there he is.
She was DR.
Hey Robert, man, you're off. You come join us. So you got to work.
I went out to her. She was in the car, really freaked out. She's a young, pretty girl, long, dark hair, and she was leaving. And I said, why? And she explained to me that they saw, and even when she said she felt her hair tugged, there was an SLS figure right next to her. So everything kind of added up, and I guess that
I got a
there
story
was a
for you.
reaction.
I will, Robert, when we're done here.
And then I went and I talked to her, and she told me, and I said, they meant you no harm. You're just a really attractive woman, and there were men, and they were probably fascinated by you, and they, you're trying to communicate, and they wanted to talk to you, and they touched your hair. Maybe they were fascinated because she had really long hair, but she went home. She was upset.
Again, is the mind more active and cold? No, it don't matter. The
No.
mind is always 56 degrees, so the weather never really changes inside the mind as far
Hey,
as
Luann.
temperature. But what was I going to say? I was going to say, God, you really threw me. I forgot now. But I was going to mention my friend there, Christine, and Eric and Steven, who I had to reprimand, by the way.
No
Yes.
way.
Well, they didn't have a question for the EVP session, so I told them they better raise their damn hands next time. They've been doing this too many times with us not to have questions.
I separated them real far from each other too.
But again, those two are funny, man. Eric always seems to get the attention. But anyway, the mom, Christine, who we've known for a while now, I stuck her in the vault.
Oh, you did?
Yes. And there she is. And she had some piece of equipment going off as she was standing in there, and we mapped not one, but two figures. A little one to her right, no, to her left, no, to her right, and then a bigger one that just bloop, popped up, and it was like reaching down, like almost like poking her in the head. And we're watching this go on. It was really kind of cool because what would happen was, again, going back to the children thing that John was talking about, every figure that we saw, and Stephen was using the SLS too, that we saw in the office started out small and then ballooned up to a big.
Like it was trying to be something
It
else.
was weird. They all did that. Little and then boom, big. Strange. I don't really see that often like that. But yeah, Christine was brave. She got into the vault. I was going to shut it on her, but I didn't. I took pity on her. There were witnesses. I couldn't do any much stuff as I wanted to do. I would have closed her in there for sure, but couldn't do that anymore.
And then
I don't know if I can open
found
it.
out
That's why I don't close the vault.
Somebody was afraid of mannequins. So there are a lot of mannequins, believe it or not, in the mine, and they kept me off guard too in the dark. And someone came around the corner, and I forgot to warn her. I forgot I thought we had cleared them all, and she screamed. That echoes a lot in the mine.
Chris said there was an experience by the Statue of Liberty. Here's the thing about, again, what if you the magic rocks. I was just going to bring that up again, Lauren. Here's the things. If you don't know that science says that minerals hold energy, that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really kind of believe in that sort of thing, then those minerals are basically in every building. They're in the mine.
They're surrounded by it.
They're in every single building we go in. So, and here's the thing too that I wanted to mention too about that ritual mask of John's. That's when I got those EVPs. That mask seemed to charge the energy. And I said to John, with it being a ritual mask, could it have contributed to the spirit energy that's normally there? And he said, yeah, sure. If it's used for ritual, that's what it's kind of was
sense,
for.
Wouldn't it? There's been a connection.
Very
like
interesting. Again, to do that. By any chance, can you do tomorrow with live? Not in the mine. No way. There's no Wi-Fi.
Yeah, there's no Wi-Fi.
No Wi-Fi. There. So everything we do, we have to record.
Everything's got to be done outside the mine. I tried an experiment in there with the minerals. So what we did is that Taylor had given John and I some crystals and different stones and elements, and there were two of them, and I don't remember the name of them because I'm not good with the names, but there were two separate rock minerals that I had in bags that had the name on them, and I left them in the bag because I wanted to be separate, and I put them on top of each table that I had in the mine, but underneath the table I actually put the mineral that actually came from the mine underneath, because a lot of the miners that come back and the ones that have been there, they're also geologists. They all go in there and they do study. They're scientists, all of them. They all still come back and they do studies. There's stuff always going on in the mine. So I said to the people that I had come in and separated these tables, I put them there because I'm curious to see if one of the miners will come and take a look at one of the rocks that doesn't belong there, the mineral that doesn't belong there, and then the other one that's underneath. Like, I know what you're doing here. And somebody actually said, and I forget who it was, sat in the chair with one of the minerals on top that didn't belong, and something grabbed in the dark the package and it crinkled with her right there, and it freaked her out. I thought that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, uh, like I said, the mine. I love going there. We're good friends with the people that run the mine and all the people that work there. And the police chief was actually there last night with his daughter. I mean, he's been to many of our events. Um, it's just like I said, the places that we work with, we're very fortunate um, to work with them. You know, uh, they trust us implicitly with what we do and how we do it. Um, Creeper Gallery, I have the keys. Sterling Hill Mine, I have the keys. Camp Evans, I have the keys. Um, these are places that um, they enjoy working with us. We've built a trust and a friendship over the years. Centenary University is on that list too. Pretty much all of them are. We don't just, it's not business transactions because yes, we're doing fundraising and that's all we do is fundraising throughout the year for all of these places. We donate every penny to these locations for every event that we do. But the friendships that we built with these people where we know them, we talk to them, we text them, happy holiday, we get together, we eat pizza with some of them, and they trust us and they want to work with us. And they've worked with others in the past and they enjoy what we do and enjoy being able to trust us being in there. So um, we do have agreements with these places where we're the ones who run their events, and that's it, just us. And that is because it's how they want it too. They don't want to deal with other groups going in there and worrying about who's going to go in and do what, or because there are places, I won't mention names, that people have broken into rooms that they shouldn't have been into and broken things that are irreplaceable. So, these are the relationships we build and we have that kind of trust back and forth with them to where there are no issues with giving us the keys and saying, go do this, lock the doors when you leave.
And that's in part too because of the people who come that are amazing and respectful
Well, the people that come to our events.
Yeah, they help us keep our credibility and stuff because they follow the rules and they do and they're very respectful.
So I mean that's really the gist about who we are and what we do. We dedicate ourselves to these places 100%. Every single one of them. You see what we do. We're there a lot. We're there all day. We're there from Sterling Hill Mine. We get there at 3:00. We don't leave till 1:00 in the morning. I mean, and so I mean, it's a great relationship, and this is what I mean about. Um, it's never been about money for me. My relationships aren't transactionable in the paranormal. Never have been. Um, they are relationships with these sites and these people and the friendships that we've built. Not just the buildings we support, but the people that support us. I would never, ever, ever take anybody's money lightly and not try to give them everything that I could to make it worth it for them. That's the utmost important thing. When we leave at the end of the night, believe me, it matters. Did people have a good time? Are they saying they want to come back? Would they recommend their friends come? Yeah. Did we make it worth it? The travel, the money, and everything that you guys have put into being there, and whether it's money or just travel or whatever. So that's really and again, we can't manufacture anything. What we do is promise to give you every ounce that we can for the time that you're there to try to just give you a good experience, whether something happened or not. Hopefully you learned something, you had a maybe experience something paranormal, maybe you made a friend, who knows, but that's all part of it too. You enjoyed the site, you want to come back during the day, take a tour, tell your friends about the site so they'll come back and visit and take tours. It's all synergy, and that's the most important thing.
And that was cool because we hadn't gotten to talk to Danielle, and Christopher said that they had a heck of an experience there.
So, we enough of that soapbox. But I want to explain to you guys that as far as events and the people that we work with, it's it's a mutual relationship that we have. We support them. We give everything we can. We donate what we can, try to help their sites, and in return, they trust us. We're
They
friends.
support us.
They support us. They only want to work with us. They're not interested in going out, and they're just not. They have a program. We run the program. That's it. Period. So anyway, so we finished the event there. It's 12:30. We're trying to get the guys out that volunteer because they've been there
They've
all
been
day. They're
all day
working. They're
doing
tired,
tours. Yeah.
and we get out of there. So um, the next morning, because we stayed over, we knew John was staying at a certain hotel, so we stayed at the hotel. John left before we did. So Father's Day morning, John says, "You want to go to breakfast?" We're like, "Yeah, we'll meet up 9 o'clock. We'll go get some breakfast." Now, again, we didn't go to bed till 3 or 4, and the mattress sucks,
And the door didn't lock.
and the door didn't lock in the hotel. I mean, the door did not lock.
And
You
we
could
almost got
push
in
it
a head-on
open, and what do you
collision.
call that stopper thing you said
A
it was?
safety bar.
Safety bar was the only thing from stopping the serial killers from getting to us.
Serial killers.
That's it. That's it. The hotel serial killer.
Oh.
All he had to do was somehow get by that stopper bar, and we were dead. And speaking of dead, another thing happened too, where you're vanished. You said you won't look down.
I
You
did.
looked down. You vanished. We're I mentioned this too on the other live stream that we did. We were driving from the quick check to the hotel, and we get off whatever, I think it was 23 maybe, or it wasn't 15, but we get off this one highway.
We got off 15.
And we're taking an exit, this winding exit to another road, and all of a sudden we see headlights coming at us. The guy was going the wrong way. We were coming off the highway. He was trying to get on it the wrong way. And no lie, if we'd have gotten there 5 seconds earlier, 7
Couldn't have missed
seconds,
it.
head-on collision,
No.
we'd have been.
I just had
messed
enough
up.
room to avoid
She
this
swerved
guy.
around him because we had enough room. A little further down, there was nowhere to swerve.
No, there were guardrails everywhere.
We might not have been dead, but we would have been really messed up. And he just he went and
No,
he
he
turned
flipped
around
around immediately.
Yeah, Captain Corrector.
No, I'm just saying that
And,
he did. He whipped around fast, so he wasn't like, because everybody was asking me, was he drunk? I don't think so. I think it was just a fact that in the dark, with the construction that was going on over there, he just came
Or
off
he was
the
drunk.
wrong way.
Could
I
be
don't
drunk.
think he was drunk
Whatever.
because he flipped that car around really fast. Right
Drunk
behind
people can
us.
do that.
I don't think
So,
so.
so it was one of those where you get past it and your stomach turns because you're like, that could have happened. We literally could have been wrecked on the road and waiting for an ambulance or somebody because it was that close. So
It definitely made both of us our adrenaline get pumping.
Yeah,
That's
we
for
were
sure.
like,
Woke us up.
again, imagine that story. Front page of every
Ghost
podcast
hunters now
and whatever.
haunting,
Yeah. People have been doing EVP sessions by the side of the road, trying to spirit box sessions. And all they would have got from me is F you, you ghoul. Get out of here. That's what I would have said on the spirit box. So anyway, so now we're having breakfast with John Zappis. And it's Father's Day. So everything is crowded. So we go down to Granny's. And Granny's is a little
mom and pop place.
breakfast
That's
place.
Awesome.
So people waiting outside. So we park. I run in. Is there a table for 3? Yeah. Sit over there. So we go in. Now, John's older than us, but he's not crazy older. John's 68. I'm 55. So, but John's all gray, and you know John's office. So they thought we were bringing our dad.
He also said that.
So they're like, Happy Father's Day to him, and we're sitting down and we're kind of going with it. So we're sitting there, and he says a joke about something, and I'm like, "Listen, Dad, you keep doing that, we're taking you right back to the home. We're not messing around here. It'll be straight back to the home if you keep that up." And he's laughing, and we're laughing, and people are looking at us like, "Oh my God, they're talking to their father like that." It was just. We had such a great time.
We were just being silly.
Hanging out with him, and then the place was packed, so we had to go outside, and we sat at the picnic table and we just shot the what about everything and anything. And again, I I like hanging out with the guy. Like I said, John. If you know John, John's funny. You could joke around with him.
He
He's got
wasn't just you know, it was really cool that you know, all the joking aside, he was really sitting there and talking about different theories and different things, and that was what was really cool too.
what we have to note is that his haunted objects. He only lets one person touch them and investigate them. Take a guess who that one person that he only let do that. Come on. Say it with me. That's right. Yours truly, Paranormal Savior, the only one. And he said that too. Who did he say it to? Someone said, he said, John.
He said he doesn't let anybody touch him.
He doesn't let anybody.
He doesn't.
His wife.
Although he did let me take him into the office while you were doing your lecture.
In a suitcase. John gets to take them out and actually
I wouldn't want to touch him.
talk to them. So
yeah, someone does need to make him a love tub shirt. You're right, Chris.
I was very, very honored to be the person who he trusts because
and he knew you weren't going to be disrespectful and you were going to do things in the right way.
Yeah, I mean, but again,
he does have concerns about stuff like that.
We've sort of stumbled onto the haunted object thing just by, like I said, the cable access show that we did, and here we are, Creeper Gallery, all these years later, and Cody Satori's objects, and now John's. I mean, we've kind of built the reputation of people that work with these things and investigate them, and I think we do it in a respectful way to where we're not trying to provoke or whatever. I mean, things go bad and things get a little freaky, stuff happens, but I think we developed a way, the two of us, that really works for any object with any backstory.
I think so. Even if it doesn't have a backstory, I think we've gotten pretty good about fleshing out some information. I mean, one of the investigations that we just did didn't have a name, and you got a name, and it seems that name has a connection to the item that on research.
She may have found the guy.
Yeah, just by John getting a name from the object, Donna might have actually found out where this object belonged and to who. I mean, everything is starting. It's pieces of the puzzles. You did that with a Cappy hat. That was unbelievable. No history other than it was a Civil War hat. And you did an EVP. You asked for his first name. You have second.
The spirit box. It all came through the spirit box.
And boom, John got a first and second name. And it turns out that this hat really did belong to a man that was like, and Kathy has all of this, has the Cappy hat with the whole history of it. But it blew us away.
I mean, you may call me a miracle worker.
Oh, I
wouldn't label myself that, but you've said that. And
I have never.
I mean, is it a miracle? I don't know if it's a miracle.
Oh, it's something else.
Is it impressive? That I would take that label for sure. But miracle, no. I appreciate you saying it, but honestly, that's too strong of a word. But I do my best and try to help the living and help those who are no longer with us. Yeah. What I do.
Yeah.
I'm a giver. I give.
You're a giver, all right.
And then it hurts, and I give more.
You give it in loads.
I give it. But it was a really great weekend, and we're going to work on something else with John this year.
Yeah.
We're putting that together. So look for one more John Zaffis event before the year ends. I mean, again, he paid us a great compliment.
He did.
He said if he was in the area, he would hang out with us and he would, do this kind of stuff with us more. So, I mean, like I said, you meet some people along the way, and, we've been doing our convention for 10 years now. This is year number 10 for Power Unity. And, good people. I wouldn't say I've met anybody through the convention that I would say is like, oh God, I wish I was never around that person again, but some really we've made connections with and friends with, and Chip Coffee. Chip's another. If you'd have told me I'd have been friends with Chip Coffee when I was watching Paranormal State back when that was on, I would have been like, that guy? No. And yet,
and if anybody would ever said, I'm going to give you guys a little insight to John and this thing with.
And now we're going to end the live stream.
No. This is really a full story thing. But every time John would, when we started this, and John would get up in front of people, he'd ask them what their favorite paranormal show is, and people, I know, let me just, and people would say things, and John would say, mine's haunted collector, and look at the full circle of that you and John talk all the time, and John's letting you touch his haunted objects and investigating them and stuff. That's that right there really says a lot to how far we've come and what we've built and been a part of.
No, if there was one person, like, I wouldn't. Yeah, he is a mentor to me. I mean, I would call him a mentor to me because, again,
you have a lot of respect for him.
I have more respect for him than anyone in this field. And if I really needed something, and I have, there was someone contacted me, and I don't want to get into too much detail about this, but it is okay. Let me see how I could do this without saying too much. This person was living in a place where a murder had occurred, so they said, and this murder involved a body that was dismembered in the closet. Okay, so, and I researched the location and the person who they said, and the person did live in that building, and it was a decent story. It was a big story. So this person reaches out to me and is like, look, I'm living in this place, and I've been living here, I think 2 or 3 years, and I think the spirit of this person is here. And, would you come in and check this out? And at first I was like, wow, that sounds really fascinating, but there, my spidey sense, the little tingle in my head said, did this person just find out about this story and is now looking to be part of the story by getting us in there and then telling the world what we found, and we're going to get dragged into this and everything like that? So I was nervous. So I sent a message to John, and I said, John, can I talk to you about somebody that approached me about a case? And I talked to him about it, and he was like, he said if it were him, he said he would look into it. That's what he said. He would look into it further just to meet the person and see what kind of they were like and everything like that. And I said, all right. So I reached back out to the person, and they were kind of like all into like live streaming or recording the investigation. And as soon as they said that, I was like,
knew what the goal was.
Sorry. I'm like, if we're talking just doing it for the sake of you think something's going on here,
that's different,
and you want to know, and you want to potentially, I said, but you want to videotape it. Why? Oh, because I just want to proof. I want to blah, blah, blah. I said, this doesn't sound good. So I went back to him. We talked about it, and I said, no, go find somebody else to help you, because I don't have a good feeling about this at all. And I didn't. So, no way. It was just a bad, and I get feelings like that. There's been other people that have reached out to me, and they said, hey, could you do this, this, and this, and this, and this is going on. And so YouTube, I literally say to them, well, has anybody else been in there? And there are like 10 groups. And I'm like, yeah, we're not going to be, I'm trying to get rid of this. All right. I haven't had one of those in a while. I guess we're due. But yeah, there are times where you got to go with your intuition. And if your intuition tells you, like, again, the famous story that we found out about them going to that satanic cult place and people watching them from the woods.
Oh my God.
Like, I wouldn't have spent 5 minutes there. Although I have gone again to places where, like, again, another place where somebody contacted us, and this was one where they changed their mind about doing it, but it really would have been rough to do, because we talked a lot about, you and I, the last one we did, about deaths that are more recent and how it affects the ripple effect of there being living relatives
Yeah.
around who may have an issue
Yeah.
with you doing things.
There's still trauma with it.
There was a case, and she's going to remember this one. I won't say what town, I won't say where, but I was really moved because the person told me they were in a relationship. She broke up with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Their relationship was tumultuous. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Tumultuous. Well, on again, off again, on again, off again. A lot of fighting. They broke up. They got back. They didn't get back together. She agreed to meet with him. They went back to her place. Things happened. He assumed they were back together, and she was like, "No, that's not what this is. I don't. After all we've been through, I don't want to. This just happened, sort of thing." He left. She thought he left, so she was in her room. She's on her phone, whatever. Period of time, she goes out into her kitchen. He killed himself in her kitchen.
He hung himself.
So she found him. Cops, whatever. She said days after, now she had his phone still. His phone called her when it was in her possession. And she was freaked out because she thought he was there and she thought she had seen things. So, based on that alone, we were talking about going in there. And it was in a pretty rough town. And we talked to her and we're like, how does the family feel about this? And she was like, they're not going to like this. I said, so if we go there, are they going to know we're there? Somebody going to tell them we're there, and is there going to be a problem? She said, more than likely, yeah, there may be. And I said,
and she was moving from there.
Yeah, I'm like, it's an
So
apartment. She's
things,
renting it.
Yeah,
and,
so there were
and
things that were going on too.
I said, I can't put us in danger by going in there when you're telling me that if somebody sees or hears about it, and you've already talked to people about having a group in, and they're watching you. I can't risk bringing us into that situation.
And the activity may be based around by the trauma of the
phone number
situation
calling her?
between the two of them, but her moving away.
But that was a rough one. That
wasn't
tough one to say we couldn't, because I wasn't going to risk. I just couldn't. I couldn't.
No, we talked about that extensively, and it was just there were too many factors there that just no. And she was moving; she wasn't staying there, so she was literally moving out within the next week.
That was a rough one. But anyway, we covered again the Sterling Hill Mine. John Zaffis will be on. Just a matter of me reaching out to him, getting him on here, and we'll talk about. We can talk about everything. We can talk about Camp Evans. We can talk about Sterling Hill Mine. And things that are coming up in the future with him, and you guys can pick his brain, and we can jump back and forth between subjects. Donna will be on Thursday. So any questions for Donna that you've always wanted to ask her, how she got started, the objects, all that good stuff, her artwork, whatever, feel free to pop on and talk to Donna, ask Donna. It'll be good to catch up with her again. We've been texting back and forth, but so we'll be back Thursday with Donna, but we may pop on if we do make it to Sterling Hill Mine and we do the EVP stuff. Look at her, look at it. Did you see that look? Go back and rewind that if you get a chance. The eyes literally darted at me like, we ain't going no. Go back and I swear to God, time mark. It was like, what you talking about, Willis?
I was waiting for him to say tomorrow.
What you talking about, Will? I mean,
you want to do it tomorrow?
It could be tomorrow. This might be sleep late on Wednesday. But
yeah.
If we do go there, we'll come and do a wrap up, Wednesday, talk about it, maybe play some audio clips if we can. But go back and watch that. It's worth looking at again in slow motion and make it a meme, because it was that was too dramatic. It was the eyes. It wasn't even the head. It was like those pictures in a haunted house that
exactly.
look at you. Anyway,
he feels the laser beam.
Definitely be on Thursday at 8:00 with Donna. You may catch us between now and then, Wednesday night, maybe, if we do it. All right, guys. Yes, the mine was amazing. Great time. Thank you, everybody who came. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Again, we don't get to do what we do without you guys supporting us with the live streams and with the events. That's why we get to work with these great people we do and support them the way we do. You guys are all part of it, and we can't thank you guys enough for that.
Have a good night. Stay safe, stay healthy. Please remember to be kind to each other. It's really important. Good night.
Night, everybody.